to another episode of It's in the Mind, It Can Be Managed, the Mind Management Mentors podcast. And this one is going to be a good one. Dr. Angela, I don't even know how we met. It was probably from a Facebook group or something like that. But the second you jumped on the opposition for what we're going to talk about today, I was like, we need to chat. We absolutely need to have a chat. So, top of the house, housekeeping. Welcome to the Mind Management Mentors podcast. If you're liking the podcast so far, like and subscribe. 22,000 subscribers at this moment in time. Hi to 22,000 subscribers. Remembering, it's in the mind, it can be managed. And today I will allow you to introduce yourself. Please tell us who you are, what you do, and why are you here today?
For sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I love this conversation we're going to have, and I take it in the spirit of collegiality and friendship, and nothing is personal. I've loved your attitude since the second we met. I sometimes come off as very strong, but like I have actual things I worry about, like my family. Like this is a fun academic discussion, and
absolutely,
if somebody learns something great, and if they think it's all stupid, then that doesn't bother me either. So even if I argue vociferously today, you will see that it is all done with love. So my name is Dr. Angela Kingdon. I live in Bristol in the UK. I am married to an Englishman, as was my dream as a child when I fell in love with the House Martins in 1984 and made a commitment to such an accomplishment. But no, I'm very proud and feel very lucky to be living in England. It's an amazing country. You mentioned I have a PhD, but I have a lifelong career in publishing. So I am a ghostwriter, and I work primarily with therapists and other healers. And for a lot of my career, I was a ghostwriter for a lot of what people would call new age books and new age life coaching, mindset. And this is a true story, as a marketer, I'm a pen for hire. So I won't write about anything, but I also wrote 17 books about the Y2K problem. And I've written extensively on, real estate. So I'm not going to write about, killing babies or something, but in general, hire me and I'll write stuff for you. And I noticed all my clients were suddenly life coaches. And I thought, well, I will become a life coach really for marketing, not to coach anyone, but I'm going to be in a life coach program, and I'm going to meet a whole bunch of people that are coaches, and they will probably hire me, and then I will have more clients. And I mean, that sounds a little cynical. It's not like I wasn't interested in the topic, but I had a job. I wasn't looking to change my career. I wanted to be, and I am, a ghostwriter, but I also wanted to meet people that would be good clients.
Of course.
So I have been certified multiple times. The first time I was certified was by Martha Beck. So some people know her. I think it's like her newest book is The Way of Radical Integrity. The first book I read of hers was Finding Your Own North Star. Changed my life. Amazing book. And all mindset stuff, everything we're going to talk about today. And at the time, her program, like a lot of life coaching programs, which in my opinion are mostly like pyramid schemes, in her program, you had to work with a coach. And the coach that I worked with was a woman, not surprisingly, who ended up starting her own coaching program, because coaches coach coaches to be coaches, coaching coaches on coaching, and then with some coaching on the side. So my coach for Martha Beck was a woman named Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach School. And so then I went on to be certified by Brooke Castillo. So she wasn't of the Life Coach School until she left working for Martha and started her own coaching program, which is what coaches seem to do because they're using all those badass mindset skills to realize the way that they'll make money is by coaching people and then certifying people who will certify people to certify people. And then their best clients will go start a program certifying people. And so, so they figured out that little scheme. And then I've done a lot of other advanced training. So I'm trained in NLP, I'm trained in hypnosis. I'm trained in EMDR. I've worked with Dave Asprey. I spent a week with Dave Asprey at 40 Years of Zen doing brain spotting and meditation and his forgiveness techniques. Worked directly with Mike Koenig and JJ Virgin and all the big names. I have paid all the dollars. I spent about $500,000 on personal development. And I am here to tell you for sure it works. You will like this little fact. From my work, I have made about $50 million. So I can tell you the strategies do work. I will tell you why they aren't great strategies and why I no longer do them or recommend them. But it was a very interesting, all-encompassing learning experience that I now think of as my years in a cult. So I started as a student of A Course in Miracles in 1994. And the last project that I did in the coaching space was my best friend was Marianne Williamson. We had a life coaching program together where we certified coaches called Miracle Minded Coaching. And then I had a little bit of an epiphany and woke up and stopped spewing all this bullshit and focused on other things. Now, that's not to say I don't think mindset isn't important. For sure, mindset is important. But I think the law of attraction and all of the life coaching techniques of like turning your thoughts around and radical responsibility are actually quite dangerous, ineffective, and lead to some very negative outcomes for a lot of people. And I think there's lots that lead to positive outcomes. So $50 million was great. Being suicidal and losing my identity to being inside basically a controlling cult, because whenever you question things in the world of mindset, people will attack your mindset. So it's very difficult to find your own truth and your own voice. And so my escape out took about 5 years of really hard work.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's at a high level. Now, hit me with your questions, my friend.
That's fine. I just what are you looking at? Are you on your phone, or when you're talking, you keep looking down?
Oh, do I? No, but I'm fidgeting.
Right, I can see you fidgeting. Which is fine.
If you're watching this video, I have those little magnet balls. And then
I've never heard of magnet balls, but I'm sure
like
there's a thing.
specs. They're just like, I got them for Christmas, and now they're like on my desk because I have fidget toys, apparently.
Right.
So that's all, but I'm paying full attention.
Not a problem. So Angela, within that opening monologue, which was absolutely fantastic, and I think there's going to be a lot of names that you've clearly dropped there. Some of them I've never heard of, to be fair, but I think you're coming from a place of your perception of experience.
Right. But which, by the way, I think is the only place to come from for anyone.
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Those would be the experience I have would be mine.
Absolutely.
But that is to say, I am not criticizing this from the outside. Like, I don't have no knowledge. I have 25 years. I've read all the books. I've worked with the people. I've ghostwritten a lot of the books. Like, I know this work, and I know that this work works.
Yes.
Except when it doesn't, and at a very high cost.
Yes.
So by no means saying it doesn't work. It works. I saw it. I lived in a castle. Like I said, made $50 million, had a private plane. This work works 100%. There is just a high cost that a lot of people don't recognize, and it doesn't work for everyone, and it doesn't work all the time. So
correct.
I think it needs some safety warnings.
Perfect. Love that. Thank you. So we're going to deep dive what we're actually going to talk about today, because the subject of what we were going to talk about was, and why you're an expertise in that is the law of attraction legit?
Right.
Is it what it says it is?
Right.
Do we believe in it, or do we not believe in it? Because I would say that I've done things in the past that I know I've attracted.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. I did my vision board, and then I do start looking for the different things on the vision boards. I'm like, I have got that, or that did happen, or this did it. So I think the power of putting it into the subconscious mind so that we start looking for those things is a powerful concept and a great concept.
Mm-hmm.
But it must be extremely frustrating for 1,000 and millions of people going, this shit doesn't work for me, which is
Right.
kind of the conversation. Now, you also touched on, look, I had the loss of identity. It did feel like a cult, and I was suicidal for quite some time. Is that correct?
Yeah. And I think these things are connected because here's the thing. I was one of the world's best. I don't know a lot of coaches that have made $50 million. There's plenty, but I don't think there's that many. I would say, I don't know. Do you think it's fair for me to say I was in the top 10% of coaches in terms of revenue?
Yeah.
Something like that, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was in the top echelon. I was in all the groups. I was with all the people. And then a thing happened to me. I want to talk about the thing that happened.
There's a
But
tipping point.
the
There's always a
thing that
tipping point.
happened to me was a medical situation.
Right.
And I knew all of the tools. I taught all the tools. I did all the tools. I saw all the tools work. And suddenly the tools were not working. And so what do we do when what do we teach people in the world of mindset when something isn't working? What do you do?
If you're me personally, or
what would you tell someone if they were struggling, they really wanted to run a marathon and they were struggling, what should they do if they can't do it?
I don't think I'd coach anybody on running. You
Whatever.
Wouldn't come to me to run a marathon.
They can't they're struggling to reach their goal on their own. What should they do?
I would try and help them break down the goal into smaller parts so they keep going.
They broke it down on their own into smaller parts and they couldn't do it. They're only working on their own. What should they do now?
I would probably say I might not be the coach for you to be able to help you move forward.
Oh, no, I'm saying they're doing it on their own. You're not their coach.
Oh, right.
Right. So if you are trying to reach a goal on your own,
yes,
you cannot reach it. The standard advice in coaching is to
I don't know. You've lost
hire a coach.
Oh, hire a right. You can't do it on your own. Hire a coach. That would be a Tony Robbins. It's funny you never mentioned Tony Robbins in any of the things that you.
You know, I hate Tony Robbins, and I'll tell you why. I know all his stuff. I've done all the tapes. I did the tapes in the early years, like in the night. When I say tapes because you can tell I did them on cassette tape. His spasmodic dysphonia really bothers me. I can't listen to his voice. His voice just drives me nuts. That little thing.
Well, that's a resonance thing, isn't it?
Whatever it is, his voice is like nails on a chalkboard for me. I know everything he teaches. I could rattle off his stuff backwards and forward. I just can't fucking listen to him.
Right. Okay.
But I work with a lot of Tony's people. I've done a lot of ghostwriting for Tony's people. I know his stuff inside and out. I just don't like him personally. Just personal preference, not because of what he teaches. But in general, what coaches will tell you, if you can't accomplish something on your own, you hire someone else.
Correct. So, someone who's done it.
So ideally someone who's done it. Yeah.
Someone who's done it. Someone who's completed a marathon, then you would model their success.
Yeah. The success leaves clues. That all sounds reasonable, right?
Yes.
So I moved on to that step because I've taught that step. And that's how a lot of people hired me. So I know that step. If you can't do it yourself, hire a coach. It's not like unreasonable. It's a reasonable thing. And so I hired a coach. I hired the best coaches, like $250,000 for a year kind of coaches.
Yeah.
I took every class. I paid attention. I did the homework. And every time I would get this feedback that was like, why do you not want this result? How are you manifesting this? Why is it better for you to not have this thing that you say you want?
That is horrible.
Well, it's pretty standard. That is Byron Katie's 4 steps, right? It's like.
So Byron Katie, I know of Byron Katie. I don't think is Byron Katie the secret and law of attraction? Is Byron Katie? Somebody's I know has gone and seen Byron Katie.
So Byron Katie has her 4 questions, and so 2 of the questions are the same. So the first question is it true? So I want this result. I want to run a marathon. Is it true? I mean, yeah. Yes, I want to run a marathon. Yes, it's true. Okay, can you absolutely know it's true? And then how do you react when you, oh shit, how do you react when you think the thought, I can't run a marathon? So it's all mindset, right? And then who would you be without the thought, I can't run a marathon? Yeah. It all sounds very good, except there are certain things in life where this is not a good tool for.
Perfect. Tell me.
And so I will just argue at a high level, because this is the one that gets argued a lot, would be, let's just say cancer. So, or here's an even more controversial one Byron Katie likes to do is rape. So one of the thoughts is like, Byron Katie teaches you is, I look forward to being raped. That if you could say, I look forward to being raped, then no one can hurt you. You can reprogram your thinking. So there are many situations where I would say mindset tools are not helpful. So for instance, if you are an orphan child in Palestine right now, I think doing a vision board is a great strategy. I think you have lower level survival issues. And I think when you have certain medical issues, now I'm not saying having a good attitude isn't always good. Of course, you are going to be better in a war zone or with cancer with a good attitude as opposed to a bad one. Yeah. No one would ever argue otherwise, and certainly I am not. But when we tell people you can manifest anything with the right mindset, then when they don't manifest that thing, it becomes their fault for not being able to do it. Were you not using the tools right? Were you not doing it well enough? But the truth is, some people just like lose their babies. Just the baby didn't do something wrong. The baby didn't think a thought. You don't deserve to have lost your baby. Bad things just sometimes happen to people.
Bad things happen to good people.
And bad things happen to people. Bad things just happen. Sometimes bad things happen. And you could be the world's best law of attraction ninja, but bad things will, in some numbers, still happen to you. And that's perfectly fine if what the law of attraction said is like, look, sometimes shit happens and you got to make the best of it. But that's not what the law of attraction says. It says thoughts become things. Everything you are attracting, you wanted, a thought created. I used to know all these thought terminating cliches. You probably say them to your clients, so jump in with them. But you...
I really don't. I'm not a law of attraction coach, so I've never once said to anybody, no, I'm not that kind. So clear, right? So to preface this as well, Angela, right? Or shall I call you Dr. Angela? Because it sounds
no, Angela's fine.
Angela's fine. Yeah. So I'm not the kind of coach that would be the person. Why is it you're not wanting to change? Or what is it that stop? I would say what is that's stopping you? What is going to help stop you move forward?
Earlier, like you believe in vibration, so like.
I do believe in
vibration. Deserve to get cancer?
I would say my thought process on cancer, and it is only a thought process, is I would say food's probably more involved in cancer.
Yeah, but they're obviously only eating food that
I would say super processed food would be.
Yeah, but what law of attraction says is it's your thoughts. So if you change your thoughts, actually, that's a good example. Let's go back to you and the food. Do you think anyone in the history of cancer has gotten cancer for a reason that wasn't their fault? Because you're sort of implying with food, this person chose processed food. So if they get cancer, they deserve it.
I don't think I was implying that. I was implying that I think that I don't think I was implying that.
Food. So, do you think any person who every single meal,
I love this conversation, by the way,
every day of their life, they ate a healthy meal and they made 100% good choices, do you think there is a single person on the planet who got cancer who always ate healthy?
There is. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
My uncle was very healthy.
There you go. So
He
now
never smoked. He never smoked, and he still got throat
my
cancer.
grandmother fucking died of pancreatic cancer, never smoked or drank a day in her life.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. So bad shit happens to good people,
my
right?
point is, would my grandmother's experience with cancer have been better if she had a positive attitude? Sure. Like that was scary. And I bet having hypnosis or some mindfulness techniques or how to be present in the moment, all of those things could be tremendously helpful. But would it be helpful to my grandmother to say, thoughts become things, you can attract anything you want into your life. If you would like to attract perfect health into your life, like Joe Dispenza says, if you meditate enough and in the right way and in Mexico while paying Joe Dispenza $5,000 or whatever money he wants from you and worshiping at the cult of Joe Dispenza, then you too can cure your cancer. Like this charlatan quack, not doctor. Joe Dispenza is like a chiropractor who lost his license and uses the term doctor. And he's telling you you can meditate your way out of COVID and cancer by getting on a plane and flying to Mexico. And then what happens is people who are sick and immunocompromised fly there because they believe what I would want to believe. You can fix your own life by changing your thoughts and fixing your vibration. And right now you're tuned into a vibration of 200 and that's aligned with cancer. But if we can get your vibration to 4,000 knots, then suddenly you'll be attracting private flights. And those are dangerous thoughts, except when they're not. So here's the thing. When I learned law of attraction, I am a reasonably smart, reasonably successful, reasonably attractive, reasonably well-educated white person in a Western country with, my parents didn't go to college, but my parents both worked. You know, I didn't have a silver spoon, but they paid for me to go to university. I didn't come out of university with debt. And so when I used the law of attraction, it worked a lot of the time because the truth was I was just being a baby and I needed to get my head in the right place and do the fucking work and get it done. But those same techniques, if you are a 7-year-old orphan with your arms blown off in Gaza right now, are not going to be as effective for you as they were for me. So the idea, once you say law of attraction, thoughts become things, everything you have, you've attracted into your life, you are now blaming victims for their circumstance that somehow in this life or some previous life, they attracted this and they could get out of it if only they get their daily mantras right, clean up their thinking, clear their chakras, meditate, make a vision board, and attract the molecules of water that will get them out of Gaza or wherever their circumstances.
I like the argument. I do like the argument, and thank you for sharing. Because I think there's some clear. I get what you're saying. I do. I'm not disagreeing. I like the point of view and the perspective. So, a lot of the teachings of law of attraction and meditation and mindfulness go back to ancient texts, to far superior intelligence than to what we are at. I would say that's how I feel when I'm reading into when you're looking into Buddhism. This predates many religions, to be fair, and the whole streams of consciousness that we can find. I've been to places when I've meditated. I don't meditate as much as I used to. To be fair, I don't. I know I'm happier when I'm meditating. I'll be very, very honest. As a personal thing, I'm
Which
actually
is
happier.
not necessarily causal.
Yes.
Right?
Totally.
Is it that when you're meditating, I don't know this, obviously, you're less busy. So
I'm allowing
where you're less busy. I'm not asking you to answer. I'm just saying.
No.
A lot of times people ascribe causes to like, because I meditate, I'm happier. That very well may be true. It might also be true you meditate at times when you're less busy. It might also be true you meditate when you're on vacation. It could be the vacation making. There are many things it could be. You're not doing a scientific study. You're sharing your personal anecdote.
Get that. And the reason that I'm happy when I'm meditating is because I have and feel like I have a better ability to let my thoughts pass. So I was a chronic overthinker. And I say was because it's past tense. Still pops up occasionally, but nowhere near like where I was with depression many years ago. I was completely and personal. I actually don't disagree with what you're saying with like, I think there's a lot of personal development out there that can be dangerous. I get it. And that's, it's funny because a lot in the news and the media now, which I suppose that we're part of, is like this misinformation. And I'm like, is it misinformation or is it just a different perspective? I don't think there's anything, because we could say that this conversation was misinformation, but it's not. It's perspective, isn't it? It's a perspective and a point of view.
I wrote a play once. It was actually for my 40th birthday. And the theme of the play was that communication is impossible. I really do believe like I have all this information and knowledge from my personal experiences.
Correct.
And it's like 52 years of information, and you have all your information. And even if we stayed up all night for a week,
yeah,
I couldn't teach you what it was like to be Marianne Williamson's best friend. I couldn't teach you what it was like to study under Brooke Castillo. I could tell you now in retrospect, but you will never know what I know, and I will never know what you know. So
unless we have these conversations.
Well, but I even think we can have the communication and you can have an idea of what I'm saying, but you won't really know what it's like to be me.
No. But I can try and listen and see the perspective you're coming from.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying, I agree with you. Like a lot of times things that look like maybe misinformation is like very clearly true for person A from where they're standing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then person B from where they're standing, that's totally false. Like if you were standing here, you would be like, that is not true. I mean, you can see this with perspective shots of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Like, obviously, I'm not holding it up when I put my finger on the picture, but from one perspective, it looks like that. Is it misinformation or is it a different perspective? Certainly, I'm not responsible for holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but we could write an article about it.
Yeah. So, Dr. Angela, I love the part doctor, so I'm going to keep going.
Okay, go ahead. Call me Dr. Angela.
All right. So, Dr. Angela, what was your tipping point for you to start realizing? Because there's always a tipping point for everyone. There's always probably a traumatic experience that's made us wake up and go, hang on a fucking second, there's something amiss here, to be fair. Because I don't the culty thing, I'm a little bit on not on edge about talking about, but I don't know what those programs are like for a culty kind of. So I'm in a networking group that some people say, oh, it's very culty. I'm like, well, just because we're happy and we're actually positive and trying to help each other, why does that suddenly become a cult?
Right. Do you want to tell me which one it is? I can tell you.
I'm in the BNI.
BNI. Love BNI.
I love BNI. And a lot of people say it's very cult. I'm like,
I would say BNI is not a cult, because if you disagreed with somebody in BNI, you're not going to get kicked out of the whole group. Like you could join another local, like if you don't agree with the thinking, there's not a penalty. So
what you're saying is that some of the coaching groups that you were in, if you disagreed with the principles, you were technically pushed out.
Well,
it's like religion as well, which is very much a religion thing.
Right. I mean, you can't not believe in Jesus and get to stay, or not believe in the Pope and get to stay a Catholic. I mean, maybe for a little while, but at some point that's not gonna work. So I think that, you don't know this grocery store, but there's a grocery store in the US called Trader Joe's. that has a lot of very big fans. And so you could call it culty. But obviously they don't like make you shop there or stop talking to you if you stop talking there. I think it means like they have fixed ways that people who really like it like to do things by their way, but I don't think it's actually a cult. What I think is dangerous about like the cult of law of attraction and the cult of Joe Dispenza is people die. That's the problem with it. In general, it's a nice idea. So if you are helping, I don't know, let's just say a guy who is a manager and wants a promotion and or isn't happy with his job and wants a new job, and you use law of attraction to attract a promotion or a new job, great. But I think when we start trying to help, and you have said earlier, oh, I wouldn't take that client. It was a marathon client, but I wouldn't take that client because I don't know how to get that result. So I would hope you would also say, if somebody had cancer, because I don't have expertise as a medical doctor and I don't want somebody's life and blood on my hands, I'm not going to tell them, hey, you should use mindset to get over your cancer. You should use mindset to support whatever your doctors say, but please don't rely on me for your medical treatment. Now, there are law of attraction practitioners that say, don't go to your doctor, come here, stop eating wheat and dairy, go in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, get red light therapy, meditate with EMFR, electromagnetic frequency mats all around you.
Yeah.
There's a whole protocol that I did with Dave Asprey. Do you know Dave Asprey from Bullet?
No, but I'll be definitely looking at. Yeah, I've written it down.
Biohacker.
Heard before. Biohacker.
So, yeah. So
the guy he was about 96, but he looks 47.
I don't know.
I've just seen that. I think there's a documentary. He's got very white. He used to be ginger, but he's now pale skin.
No, I don't think that's Dave.
Right. So
I want to say he's my age, but I wouldn't know. He probably does look 47. So if he was 90, yeah, no one told me.
No, sorry.
What he says is like, hey, if you have cancer, you need to eat healthy, do acupuncture, and forgive anyone you haven't forgiven, because that is poisoning you. So we're going to make a vision board of the healthy you. We're going to spend 8 hours a day envisioning, flights of angels carrying you to full wellness. We're going to forgive everyone. We're going to eat the yak butter in your coffee guy. So we're going to eat keto or a bulletproof diet.
Yeah.
I think it does cryo. I mean, again, this is all biohacking, but they're all related. This whole wellness pipeline is all related and incestuous. That is not what's going to cure your cancer. Science is going to cure your cancer, or maybe random luck. Maybe you have a good attitude and happen to get invited to a treatment because you seemed easier to work with than somebody who came in with a terrible mindset. Like, I do think miracles happen. It's not that I don't believe in miracles, but I think trusting the law of attraction when it comes to matters. Now, I talked about matters of like health and well-being, like cancer or being in a war zone.
Yeah.
I think this also goes to marginalized perspectives. So for instance, there are certain ways that as a woman, I am discriminated against, that law of attraction might help me get better outcomes, but it's not going to change the fact that women make 77 cents on the dollar to men. One of the things that changed that for me was moving from the US to the UK. In the UK, women aren't in Iceland, women are on par with men.
Yeah.
The salaries of women in the UK are much closer to men's salaries in the UK than in the US. That wasn't mindset that changed it. It was an airplane and a visa and a husband that everyone can't have.
No. But so this is a chicken and the egg kind of thing. So there has to be a mindset towards where is there more equality and I'll move there.
Okay, so let's go back to, let's go to Uganda. You are 30 years old. You live in Uganda.
Yep.
You have 6 children. your husband was just killed in a car accident. You really want to make more money to take care of your 6 children, and you think, I would like to move to England. Who do you think the law of attraction would work faster for? Me, a rich white lady in the US with no kids, or the lovely lady in Uganda with 6 children?
But I've not.
No degree.
So I wasn't saying law of attraction. I was saying you had the mindset to go, because this comes down to knowledge, doesn't it?
Yeah. But
I've heard a lot in the past.
I'm talking about the dangers of law of attraction, right?
Yes.
So I'm saying a good mindset is always good. We're on the same page with that.
Yeah.
Law of attraction is dangerous because now this woman in Uganda has been told, Angela did it. She made a vision board. This is actually a true story. I had a vision board with, what's the guy's name? He's super handsome. He played James Bond. He's
Craig Daniel.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So my vision board, this is an absolute true story. My vision board was, for some reason, that guy, Craig
Daniel.
Is that
Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig. Sorry, Daniel Craig.
Yeah. Daniel Craig with, I think, Catherine Zeta-Jones. He was like holding her in the water. Maybe they were in a movie together or something, but he was like holding Catherine Zeta-Jones in the water. That was like in the center of my vision board when I was trying to manifest my husband. And I did the book Calling in the One to manifest my husband. And of course, I didn't know I would end up with a British guy, but there was Daniel Craig. Now, my husband also worked as an intelligence officer. So I literally manifested a British spy. Be careful what you put on your vision board. That's what I have to say. So, like I said, this shit works. It's just dangerous. The thing is, when we are teaching law of attraction, and if you listen to particularly how they teach it in the movie The Secret or how Joe Dispenza teaches it, it is absolutist. It's not like, hey, sometimes you'll attract what you want. And sometimes you're just going to get cancer. Like sometimes you're going to break your leg when you're about to win the gold medal at the Olympics. And that just sucks. And you didn't make that happen. Your body was just exhausted. It's not that you weren't visualizing hard enough. It's not that you created this. You did your best and not everything works out. So now let's figure out what we do next. So woman in Uganda, I'm going to tell you, it is very difficult to immigrate to the UK. That's probably not going to happen for you. But let's make a plan. Let's look for grants. Let's find a way to get you a Kiva loan so you can start a small business in your town. And one of your reasons for going is you want to do better by your kids within this system that you're in. How can we get you the best outcome? That is great, but not blaming you for not doing the right vision board or doing enough meditation or clearing your chakras or forgiving people or taking full responsibility, radical responsibility for creating your reality. And that's what happens with these guys. If they say sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, it's very hard to get $10,000 out of someone. You got a 50-50 chance. It's either going to cure your cancer or you'll die. But hey, I'll have 10 grand. It's not a solid pitch.
But because I want to really stay in this moment with you. You are literally in one conversation saying that actually to the woman in Uganda, look, your vision, because so the aspects that I understand from the law of attraction is I'm not going to physically be a Ugandan woman and I'm going to get on a flight tomorrow because I've manifested it. Now, a true law of attraction is, look, a Ugandan lady would say, right, I want to move to the UK. What's the step? So they'd sit down with a law of attraction coach. What's the steps to make that? Which is actually what you just talked about. Well, actually, start a business. Let's get a loan. Then you've got £10,000. Then you've got this. And then, now you've got the option to move to the UK because this has popped up and this popped. So the law of attraction is about taking action towards a goal of which you want. I think is there not a misconnect of what? So maybe I've not heard the same law of attraction coaches as you. Because the law of attraction for me is I want to start working on cruise ships. I'm going to take action towards that goal. I'm going to do things that would get me in a position to have a conversation about working on a cruise ship. And then I'm going to be looking out for opportunities to make
Right.
that
But do
happen.
you see how your privilege, that's great. That's everything I did too, and it works. But there is a certain amount of privilege that is required for law of attraction. So your English is great. You're very well spoken. You are reasonably attractive. You are reasonably fit.
Thank you. You've been the only person that says that, by the way.
Well, you have a lovely smile. I want you to be my cruise director. Mostly, I just want to be a cruise. But like, if you were in a wheelchair and deaf, do you think putting it on your vision board would have worked equally well?
See, I like the argument because
Again, I don't want to take anything away from it. It works. I made $50 million. It works. However, what it is a tool for maximizing or leveraging your existing privilege. So everyone has a certain amount of
you're
privilege.
feeling that. So you're suggesting that privilege. See, I don't think it was privilege that I got onto the cruise ships. It was the fact that I worked hard to work into a
but
craft.
if you work just as hard and you were a 30-year-old Ugandan girl with 6 kids, if you worked twice as hard as you did, would the Black girl have gotten on there? The Black girl from Africa who speaks limited English with an accent and has 6 kids, but she works 10 times as hard as you. Does she get on?
I know quite a few people who are and they do work on cruise ships. So,
but you understand my point. Do you think it was easier for you?
I don't know if your argument's law of attraction or the argument is privilege.
Well, I'm saying what all law of attraction is and why white people, and particularly rich white people, of which I am one,
and of which I am not,
who are compared to a 7-year-old in Gaza.
Right.
Yes. So I mean rich on the scale of the world, not rich on the scale of, listen, I can't pay my bills this month either. Like, that's not what I'm saying. So I bet you have a full fridge. I bet you have a car. You're officially rich. You have a Zoom account. You're officially rich.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We love it because it works. And then we think, what is it with these other losers? Don't they know? You could, like, seriously sit down, do a little meditation, write down your goals, make a plan. You could have this too.
And that's the life coaching way, which is quite irky sometimes, isn't it?
And I know how hard I work. No one worked harder than me. Of course I worked hard. Of course you worked hard. I'm not saying I didn't work hard, but that doesn't mean I deserve it more. It means I fit the mold for certain things. So it looked like the law of attraction was working, but what was really working was privilege and social rules that the law of attraction gets you to follow those rules, basically. So they call them laws, but if you have a good attitude, people are going to be nicer to you, undoubtedly. And if people are nicer to you, things will happen. I don't know, you'll get a free beer in the bar. Like, right. Then when you have the free beer, you're going to meet someone. And since you're thinking about wanting to be on a cruise, the guy you sat next to and talked to used to work on a cruise. And now you're in a good mood because you got a free beer and you're talking to some guy who used to work on cruises. And he's like, let me connect you guys on LinkedIn. Those things will happen, but they will happen more the more privilege you have.
So, are you aware of who Francis Ngannou is? Are you typing it in? I thought you were looking for it. So Francis Ngannou is an MMA fighter. I think
Jesus. Not surprised. I didn't know. I am looking at his picture. Yes.
Right. So he
is from a village in Bate, Cameroon.
I didn't want to get it wrong. Mm-hmm. And because of the way that he thought and took action and moved, as a horrific story.
No. For sure. I'm not saying it never works. You're proving my point exactly. But if we
But
everyone,
he's a gentleman from
okay,
Cameroon.
could everyone be successful in the world?
But that's the argument of mindset and law of attraction, is if you believe it, you love it, you
Could
do it.
everyone be successful? Could 100% of people, what would it be called if 100% of people were successful?
That's such a good point. What would it be?
It would be called normal.
Would.
Right? So by definition, if we are going to have people who succeed, like this MMA guy, we have to have people who don't succeed. Most people will be in the middle, right? But we're not using law of attraction to be in the middle. We're using law of attraction to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So there was and all this law of attraction stuff is also tied to, and coaching is also tied to these multi-level marketing things. So yeah. There was this multi-level marketing company called LuLaRoe, and they sold leggings. They were butter soft.
Lululemon.
Not Lululemon. It was LuLaRoe.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, I didn't name it. So they made ladies' pants that were very soft, buttery soft. That's what they were known for.
Okay.
And when these pants came out, everyone wanted them. Everyone wanted to be a LuLaRoe representative. And then they had to produce more and more pants really fast because they had so many reps and they had to buy so much that the quality went down. And they weren't so buttery soft, and they had like some weird designs that didn't look so good, and they were see-through and bad quality control. And then they didn't have enough storage space, and they left them outside, and they all got wet. So they smelled like mold. And not surprisingly, that slowed down sales.
Yeah.
Right. As it would. So at this point, they had more reps. So in order for each of the representatives that were all doing law of attraction, which was part of the program, in order for them to break even on their investment, they each had to sell 5,000 pairs of pants. And if they sold that many pairs of pants, if they each sold 5,000 pairs of pants, there would be more leggings than people on the planet.
Correct.
So if everyone on the planet bought 3 pairs of these leggings, they still would not all break even. There was no way in that system for everyone to succeed. You could not sell. There was more supply than demand. If you did a better vision board, you still couldn't sell smelly see-through pants. The system Correct. Was set up not to work. So if you go to work every day and they're like, if you make phone calls, if you take the steps, make an action plan, come to our rally calls every morning, we do a stand up, we get pumped up, we're going to go get people, we're going to sell. Today is your day. You can make it. Put up the successory, say your mantra, do your meditation, have a good attitude. Can you now sell smelly pants that too many people are trying to sell? No. What if you get a coach? What if you pay your coach $200,000? Can you now sell smelly pants? No. That is the problem with law of attraction. It's not that it doesn't work. It's that it assumes, all things being equal, assuming we have butter soft pants like we used to, like, hey, I'm your coach. I sold 5,000 pairs of these butter soft leggings in my first month. You can do this. Here's what I did. I called all my friends. I put a mirror across from my Zoom so that I was smiling. I would look at myself in the mirror and I would smile. I did a Duchenne smile. So I smiled with my eyes and I would talk to it. It doesn't work because the leggings are now smelly.
Yeah.
Law of attraction works, except when it doesn't, which is fine if we say that, but we don't say that. We say it works 100% of the time, no matter what.
That's where the caution is. Absolutely, because it doesn't.
And why do we say that? Again, we're going to get back to the point here. If we say, you got a 50-50 shot. If the leggings are good, a good attitude's going to help you. If the leggings suck, you won't sell them. Give me 10 grand, come to my conference, and you get a 50-50 shot. Maybe it'll help. It's not a good sell.
And that I don't disagree with.
That's the problem with it. So when people say they like it and it worked for me, which you could say, and I could say, I got Daniel Craig in the kitchen. He just brought me a cup of we can say that it worked and we aren't wrong, but what we are doing is harmful to other people who are like, I tried it. I made the vision board. I did the mantras. Why can't I sell these smelly leggings?
Yeah. But
See
would
where I'm
that come
going?
down to a challenging somebody's mind? I get it though, because I can see, I get it. I get what you're saying.
It's a great tool. Everyone should have it in
It's a
their arsenal.
powerful tool. And mindsets are
It's
powerful.
not a law. It's a powerful tool that works sometimes, and it works more the more privilege you have. It works for some people more than others.
But if you start out, right, but if you start out with no privilege and you do the law of attraction to the point that makes you.
Because luck is real. Luck is totally real. For sure.
There's no luck if you take chances and put a plan in place.
There's always luck, my friend.
Yeah, I get that.
I agree, for sure. Do the planning, have the good attitude, do all the things. There's nothing wrong with the tool itself.
But let me argue.
Yeah.
Let me argue from a point of law of attraction. I'm not a law of attraction coach. Never done law of attraction with clients or anything like that.
Nor have you charged people $10,000 to guarantee you'll cure their cancer.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
no,
great.
absolutely.
Fantastic. Don't do that.
I do like Joe Dispenza. I did see
I'm
something
sure you
recently.
do.
I did see something recently with Joe Dispenza, and he was like, I didn't know this. And I'd never heard him say that before. And I found that quite humbling and nice. And he's like, I didn't know this, and that's why I know this now. And this is why I've started using this. And I thought so I get that. And I have a friend who's been over to see Joe Dispenza and stuff like that. And she said, I know it's a little bit culty, but we enjoyed certain premises of this. Actually, I did a podcast with her. She was talking about it. She's American. We did find it really helpful and beneficial for certain things that we've done. Because we were going to have the second conversation, which was going to be about consciousness. And you were like, yeah, that's total bullshit as well. So we'll hold that for a sec, because Dr. Angela, we might have to do a couple of podcasts.
Okay.
So I want to use the example of law. I get what you're saying. Law of attraction doesn't work all the time. I think most people would say law of attraction doesn't work all the time. Absolutely not. I'm not going to sit here and meditate.
But teachers can't say that, and teachers don't say that.
A law of attraction teacher doesn't say that.
No, it is called a law for a reason. They will tell Abraham, they will tell you, Tony Robbins, you name them, they will tell you it works 100% of the time. That's what
I'm sure I heard Tony Robbins say something on the lines of mantra bullshit. We don't do that. We do this instead.
Well, I'm not saying
I know it's a mantra.
I'm not saying he says mantras work. I'm saying people who support law of attraction, that thoughts become things, that energy is real, that you can manifest anything into your life, that you can have the life of your dreams by having the right thoughts. Those people don't say it works sometimes.
Perfect. Not going to disagree with you on that one.
Regular practitioners might say it, but teachers don't, because it falls apart as soon as you say that.
Correct. So what was your tipping point for you to start waking up and going, fuck that?
So we are at an hour and it's another can of worms. So I will tell you quickly, but don't go down the rabbit hole.
Right. Okay.
So what happened was I had a serious physical and mental health crisis. What happened was I was a paid professional speaker.
Right.
And I lost my voice. So I had no access to speak or do my job or make any money, which I don't think it will surprise you to know, made me very depressed. So I began a process of going to all the doctors, Eastern, Western, colonics. I stood upside down in a pond in Hawaii and said a prayer to Ursula from Disney. I did mushrooms. I did and then I went to Adele's doctor in New York City. I had vocal cord surgery. I had the New York Mets vocal coach doing vocal exercises with me. Like, I promise you, you name it, I did it. And I did a week with Dave Asprey at 40 Years of Zen. I did all the forgiveness. I did all of the mindset. I did all of the vision boards. I had enough money to like take a year off and focus on this. And nothing I did worked. And I found what the problem was. And here's the next can of worms. So this is another episode if you want to talk about this. I will tell you. What it was is I am autistic. I was diagnosed long before that. So I was diagnosed when I was 39. This all happened when I was like maybe 46 or 47. And I became non-speaking. I regressed to non-speaking. And as soon as I treated my autism with basically an autism affirming practice that I now teach on my podcast, which is called the Autistic Culture Podcast.
Okay.
So as soon as I embraced my autistic identity and stopped trying to do autistic culture, my voice just came back.
Okay.
So there was nothing, it was a literal physical health problem that led to me losing everything: friends, family, clients, millions of dollars, lost speaking engagements. Like, there was much loss. And I was like, I promise you, I want to fix this. I had coaches, I had doctors, I had everything, and it wasn't working. And I had so many whiny clients through the years, just like wouldn't do the work. Like, I told them what to do and they wouldn't do it. And I knew. I changed everything with my diet. I changed everything. I did every single thing that every single coach had. And then I did things like firing every coach and just having one coach. I did every combination. Went on for years. Took time off work, did hypnosis, did NLP, did brain spotting, did EMDR, did what was biofeedback, like, you name it. I promise you I did it. And I had all the hookups. I knew all the best people. I did private coaching with everyone, and none of it solved my physical problem, which is when it started to dawn on me, oh, maybe sometimes you just get unlucky. Maybe sometimes you can't manifest your way out of this. But because I had taught so many people with the right mindset, you can manifest anything, I didn't understand when it didn't work for me.
Okay. Clearly you got your voice back.
Yeah. You're welcome.
And it was so you eventually found somebody that thought it was because of the autism.
No, I figured it out myself. Actually, the way after a couple of attempts to end my life, I ended up inventing a very strange therapy. It's not a real therapy. But every morning I woke up to see the sunrise. And every morning when I saw the sunrise, I would journal, even if it was a super cloudy day and sunrise was just white, nothing, blueberry oatmeal. Every day I journaled about what lesson the sunrise was trying to communicate to me. And I did that without connecting any of this to my autism. I'd been diagnosed, but it didn't seem connected to not speaking. Like, I was going to ENT doctors and GI doctors. I wasn't going to autism doctors. Had no idea it was connected. So after a whole bunch of sunrise therapy, which is not a real thing, it was just me writing every morning, I was able to get out of bed or really out of my closet. So I spent months just in my closet, wouldn't leave the room, started leaving the room for sunrise. Then I'd go back in, and then I started integrating more and more. And in that process, I started listening to podcasts. I wasn't ready. I couldn't talk, and I wasn't ready to talk to anyone. But I could listen. I had a little more energy. I wasn't just, sleeping or plotting my demise. And just kind of stumbled on autistic advocates that were explaining this different approach to autism, that instead of like what I had done, which was CBT and coaching to like act neurotypical, the approach that they teach is unmasking. So actually just be your whole autistic self, which was like the craziest idea I ever heard. And then I just started, I had nothing to lose. I was like, well, I'm either going to die or try this thing. And then my voice came back and I was like, what just happened? Because I spent a lot of money and went to a lot of doctors.
So you're saying the power of authenticity is what you got your voice back?
No, I mean, unmasking techniques are a little more than just being authentic. So it's things like stimming for emotional regulation. It's things like changing the environment, changing some lighting things, changing like wearing earplugs. I got my auditory processing condition treated. I had some ear issues that wouldn't have seemed related. So it's more than just like magically being authentic. It's quite an elaborate process, but that process, I didn't learn it this way, but I have a friend, Becca Lori Hector, who teaches it, and she calls it low demand lifestyle. So I created a lifestyle that was more appropriate for my autism, which meant I had to understand what my the way, because autism is different in everyone.
Of course.
So instead of pretending it wasn't there and just like doing my best, I had to figure out, oh, what am I sensitive to? Like, what does bother me? What does work for me? So I changed everyone I hung out with. I changed where I lived. I changed how much money I made. I changed how many hours I worked. I like literally changed every single thing about my life. But what I learned was none of that was law of attraction.
Correct.
And that's not to say law of attraction didn't help. That's not to say having a good mindset didn't help. But the toxicity of law of attraction that made me so sick was the thought, like, why can't I do this? I know all the steps. I know how to turn my thoughts around. I know how to make a vision board. I know how to attract positive energy. I've read Richard Dawkins. Like, I know what the energy levels are. I've done all of the things. I've done all the mindset things. I've done all the right healthy eating. Why isn't this working for me? And the answer was the thing I didn't do was a systemic thing. It would be, like trying to change immigration laws in England. You can't manifest your way to England. It's very difficult to immigrate to England. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying someone couldn't do it if you win some MMA title.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in the British government and people who are saying that immigration to England is quite easy. And that's a very political statement.
No, I know, but it's really not. I mean, immigration anywhere isn't easy. There are a lot of steps, it's not
legal immigration, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry. That was the only kind I was interested.
Sorry. Yeah. You're talking about legal immigration being hard. I'm sure there's a lot of people that suggest that illegal immigration is not that.
Being an illegal immigrant, I mean, the only reason I'm not interested in that is that sounds really fucking hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, would you want to be an illegal immigrant somewhere? That sounds terrible. Everyone hates you. You have to lie to get housing. You have to lie to get a job. You have to worry every time you're driving. I mean, no fucking thank you. So yes, maybe I could have manifested illegal immigration, but who the hell would put that on their vision board?
So would a law of attraction coach go, you manifested the solution by keeping going?
Well, I think so. And that's like the thought loops, right? I think those are the thought loops. When what we need to tell people is some things are systemic. Cancer is real. Laws are real. Sexism is real. There are real things. And those real things, it's not a tautology. Like the snake cannot eat its own tail.
That's Buddhism.
Law of attraction doesn't work 100% of the time. It's a great tool to have in your arsenal. Let's look at all of your tools and let's pick which one fits this situation. So let's say you have cancer. I would like to pick chemotherapy. Oh, I'm really scared about chemotherapy. I'm very nervous. Great. Let's do hypnosis. That is awesome for anxiety. You know what hypnosis is not good for? Making your cancer go away. Like, I'm not going to use a hammer to screw something into a wall, even if sometimes it works. And when would it work? If the wall is soft.
Yeah.
So law of attraction works by leveraging whatever you have going for you. You're doing that. You are leveraging whatever your strengths are.
Yes.
And that's great.
And that's a self-awareness thing. I'm not very good with the written word. So I know that a lot of coaches do really good typing and posts and things like that. I'm shite at it. But I can talk the hind legs off a donkey and do podcasts and videos all day long, because that's my medium of conversation. So my law of attraction is using my skills.
Right. So if we told you have to manifest this by writing, and in order to manifest it, you must write a minimum of 50,000 words, like, you're not going to be able to write with the correct energy anyway. Like, you're going to be like, I got to write another. That energy will come through. The energy that goes into your effort is the energy that comes out of your effort.
Yeah.
So for sure, leverage what you got. If you happen to be in a wealthier country, leverage that. You're not getting that. You have no other opportunity but to do that. But the trick is, when you are a coach or when you are being coached, look at this dynamic. When someone is saying to you, I did this so you can do it too, the circumstances are different. So
I've noticed a lot of coaches put in advisory, just because it's worked for me doesn't mean to say it's going to work for you.
Yeah, but they put that, but we don't want to hear it.
But I've seen them put it there, and I know that
they should, and it should be required by law. I think in Canada it might be required by law, actually. But that's my point, is we want to believe these things. I want to believe meditating with Joe Dispenza will cure my cancer, and then he's going to get case studies up there that say it cured their cancer. And number one, you're not their doctor. You're not looking at their charts. You don't know what their situation is. They are not you. This is a tool. Learn it. It might help. I'm not saying don't do it, but what I am saying is tread with caution, because law of attraction depends on luck, it depends on privilege, and it depends on you doing the steps right. It's not just the steps.
And on that note, I'm conscious of the time for you. We will say thank you so much, Dr. Angela Kingdon, from Washington in America, now living, am I allowed to tell? No, we'll not say whereabouts in the UK you live in.
You can say Bristol, it's a big place.
Oh, Bristol. All right, okay, Bristol.
Brizzle, as we call it. You can also find me at the Autistic Culture Podcast.
So right, perfect. You can send me the details for that as well. Put it on the link for the podcast. This was a fascinating conversation of the dangers of the law of attraction. That will be a great podcast title in itself.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And I'm a big believer in belief, in create. Actually, we should touch on the biology of belief. Dr. Bruce Lipton, look at your eyes raising.
I know Bruce Lipton. Mm-hmm.
And we will come back to that the next time we chat. You've been an absolute pleasure, a great guest. And this is the downside and the fear side of the law of attraction. If it's misunderstood, on if we start self-harming because of it, which I do know that people do. I get that, Dr. Angela. I get that completely. And I get pissed off when things are not working out, and I'm like, it must be me. I'm shit. So, and I'm not always happy with those kind of internal conversations, which I think is something that we can all work on. But as always, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else you would like to share, Dr. Angela?
I just want to say you are an incredibly generous host in this room. Thank you for letting me take up so much space, for hearing me, for being such a good listener and being open to this conversation and not defensive. I think that's what can make the coaching industry stronger, if there were more people like you. So thanks for hosting this conversation. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my experience.
I'm just so grateful that you actually came on the podcast, because I was like, that's a conversation I want to have. That is a really good conversation. As always, if it's in the mind, it can be managed. There's always solutions for every problem. It doesn't mean to say it's the law of attraction, though.
I'll toast to that. My last sip of Builder's tea.
All the best, and big love from Cuddy.